In a world tinier than what meets the eye, a lively bunch of fleas were merrily hopping around. Their tiny universe was a glass jar brimming with joy. Life was a party, until one day a lid was placed on their jar. Every enthusiastic jump was greeted with a sudden halt. Their heads bumped into the lid repeatedly until they cleverly learned the perfect height to leap to avoid any discomfort. They tweaked their aspirations, set new goals, and cheerfully embraced life within these self-chosen borders. Their spirit was never dampened, their joy never contained. They simply continued to jump around with their infectious mirth. And then came the exhilarating day when the lid was finally lifted. Freedom was right there, just a jump away. Yet, something strange transpired. The fleas, those tiny creatures, continued to leap, only as high as the vanished lid. They were so utterly used to their constraints that they utterly failed to their disappeared boundaries. They were so ingrained in their old habits, so steeped in their conditioned limitations, they didn't even realize their shackles were no longer there. This story of the flea in a jar mirrors our own lives in many ways. At times, we create invisible lids that limit our potential. These lids may be born out of past experiences, fears, or doubts. We get used to these boundaries and continue to live within them, even when they no longer exist. But what if we choose to break free? What if we refuse to let these imaginary lids define our limits? We have the power to jump higher, dream bigger, and reach for the stars. The fleas in our tale eventually learn to jump higher, and so can we. So, as we journey through life, let us remember the story of the flea in the jar. Let us not be confined by the lids of our past. It's time to break free, to redefine our limits, and to show the world just how high we can soar. After all, the only lid that can truly limit us is the one we choose to accept.